This is the Hasselblad 907x and CFE 100C. Hasselblad has been manufacturing premium cameras for decades, and as a Swedish design product, it follows a certain philosophy. Swedish design has always resisted the divide between function and beauty. The philosophy is, if you're going to use something every day, it should work flawlessly and give you joy to look at and hold. Fun fact, Lotta is a very common Swedish name. The 907x with the CFE 100C is the latest version of that same philosophy. This is a medium format camera. Perfect. You may know what medium format means when it comes to analog cameras, but what exactly does that mean today? In the digital era, medium format means any sensor larger than full frame, and the CFE 100C's 44 by 33mm sensor is about 70% bigger than a standard 35mm sensor. That extra size isn't just about resolution, though you do get 100 megapixels. It's about the look. Smoother tonal transitions, a richer dynamic range, more natural skin tones, and the subtle depth separation that gives images that unmistakable medium format character. Okay, get a little closer. Hasselblad has always believed that photography deserves the biggest possible cameras, and that's exactly what the 907x and CFE 100C continue today. This is a setup that you use for system philosophy, shooting posture and handling, lens rendering, and UI minimalism. It is also incredibly lightweight and portable, especially for a medium format camera. Yes, I love that. Where I love this waist level viewfinder. Hasselblad cameras have always been modular. In the film days, you could swap lenses, viewfinders, and especially film backs. When digital arrived, Hasselblad kept that same idea. To keep the system serviceable and up to date on technology, make it modular so that you can just replace the film back with a digital one. Okay, so we started out with the fully digital setup, and now we just switched to the hybrid setup. So we have the analog camera body, the analog lens, and we put the digital camera back instead of the film back onto this analog setup. So what we can do now is I can look through the waist level viewfinder and set up our shot. Then I fire the shutter, and then I can see the image on the digital back. So what we can do is we can really test our settings and see what works best, and play around with the aperture, play around with the shutter speed, and see what look we're going for. And then we can put on the film back and get the shot on film. All right, so here's the waist level viewfinder, and we connected the analog body directly to the flash, but we kept our same settings from the digital setup. This is definitely a slower way of shooting, but I do really enjoy it. There we go. And I do actually have to use the film advance lever, which is one of the best things about this camera because it's extremely satisfying. There we go. And then I can see my image right here. The benefit of pairing an older analog Hasselblad camera and vintage glass with a digital back is that it lets you keep all the classic lenses and the feel of the original camera while giving you the power of a modern digital workflow. It's breathing new life into older gear, but you get instant results, massive resolution, and cleaner images. It's the best of both worlds, the tactile, deliberate experience of shooting a Hasselblad, combined with the convenience and control of digital photography. So one of the most amazing things we can do with this setup is we can actually use a tethering app. So we're using the Focus Mobile 2 app to tether directly from this vintage lens and vintage body, and we can see our results immediately. So this is actually super useful for studio setups because we can play with the light, we can play with the flashes, we can play with the strobes, we can play with our settings and see what we're doing, which is, as a film shooter, pretty amazing. Totally changes my whole workflow. Okay, so now we have the digital back on here and the analog setup, but we want to go full analog just so we can see all three versions of this amazing Hasselblad setup. So now we are going to put an ISO 200 film into the film back, and I actually have Jonathan here from the B&A Juice department because I don't know how to do this. So please teach me how to do this. I am pretty well versed in film, but I feel like every camera is just different. So show us how to do it. What do we got?
What we're gonna do is open up the film back. So go to this side of the sort of circular portion over here, lift this part up, and then just twist. The entire thing will come apart. What we're gonna do now is make sure that we have two ends over here. We have the receiving ends and the part where the film would go. So what we're gonna do now is get the film, put it in like that. This will lift up. We'll just rotate till it clicks into place. We're gonna have the film go underneath so that when we actually load this in, the film is gonna be exposed instead of just the paper. So we're gonna wrap this all the way around. And then the receiving spool will have a little hole right there in the middle. I'm gonna drop that in. Hold it in place. And then just rotate until it catches like that. Now once it does catch, we're just gonna rotate this until we see the arrow. Match the arrow to this right over here. Like that. And that's about it. We're just gonna load this back into the film back.
Okay, so now we're going to take the digital film back off. There we go. Put that over there, and then just slide that on there.
Exactly, the same way you'd put on the digital back. Just like
all right, and now we got a fully analog setup. So I got all of my settings from the digital setup, and now I'm doing fully the analog setup. So it should be pretty similar, so we'll see. Let's talk about lenses. Since we're doing a portrait session today, I'll be talking about the XCD line of portrait lenses here. We'll have an episode later on where we dive deeper into landscape and street photography lenses as well. We have the XCD 45mm f3.5, which is a 35mm equivalent field of view and lends itself to environmental portraits. The XCD 65mm f2.8 is the ideal standard lens with a 50mm full frame equivalency. It's designed to achieve the normal focal length and mimic the human field of view. The XCD 90mm f2.5V is equivalent to a full-frame 71mm focal length, which makes it a moderate telephoto lens, so perfect for close-up portraits or still lifes. These bright XCD lenses have exceptional optics and create beautiful portraiture with incredible background separation, beautifully rendered skin tones, and this unmistakable Hasselblad feel we know and love from the vintage lenses. A big thing with these lenses is that they have a shutter in the lens, which means that you can easily do super high flash syncs. The 45mm and 65mm have a central lens shutter that can go all the way up to a 1/2000th of a second flash sync, and the 90mm has a leaf shutter where you can sync up to 1/4000th of a second. Hasselblad has always designed around the ritual of shooting slowly with precision and intention. This is not a run and gun kind of camera. This is a tool that helps you create masterpieces. Intentional, carefully crafted imagery for artists that need perfection when it comes to a camera system. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and stay tuned for real life examples of this incredible camera system. Bye bye.